What we're working on today is the Bryans FiveWin. Very similar in design to the more popular Elevenses from Bryans. This one was the FiveWin because it had 5 winners and 2 losers either side. Now this particular model is like many other models of Allwins are the graphics. They tend to fade, split, crack and just wear out. As you can see on here, we've got the win and lose labels are very well worn out. There's damage to this up here, and also this one looks very dirty and grubby and can do with replacing. And that's what this video is all about. How do we replace the graphics on an Allwin? So how do we get the replacement graphics? Well, if you search the internet, there's many places to download the reproduction graphics. You can even buy them from auction sites. If you visit our website, slotmachinedepot.co.uk, you can download a free copy of the graphics for both the Elevenses and the FiveWin, and you've got all the graphics, the original layout, all ready and sized just to be cut out and put onto your machines. Once you've downloaded this, you've printed it out, you then just have to cut out the items you need. Before we get onto this, we're going to start taking this off and getting to the graphics themselves. Now the first thing we need to do is to remove this, the glass from the front. Once the door is safely resting, we can then proceed to lift out the glass. Now most of the Allwins just have the glass sitting firmly in there. We just need to lift this up and grab the top and the glass will come out. Now be very careful with this because you don't want to break the glass. They're very expensive to get toughened glass again. You can't just put any glass replacement in there. So we pull that all the way out and store that somewhere safely. Once the glass is removed, we can then get a good look at what we need to replace. Now these two here, the circle cards, need to come out from the front, hence the reason we had to remove the glass. The win and lose labels are actually removed from the other side, the internal workings. So we're going to remove these two first of all. Now a great thing about this is you shouldn't have to remove the whole plate. You don't particularly want to take off these here and the entire plate. What we can do is just loosen off the small screws around it and we should be able to just slide these out. So using just a regular flat head screwdriver, just loosen off the screws. You don't even have to take them all the way out. It's certainly these two here. Now as soon as I've loosened that, you can see that the little card has come out. Now I'll be honest with you, sometimes that's kind of stuck. It's not glued there. It was never glued by Bryans. It was just held in place by the screws pulling it to the back plate. So this should fall freely. If it doesn't, just get a screwdriver just to prise it out and it should just pop out. So there it is there, and we can just pull this out. Okay, the second one, once again, no need to remove these. The second one we just loosen off. Once we've done that, loosen those off, it's just pulled this metal plate away from the back, and there it is. So all we need to do now is cut out the two circles ready for replacement. Now these are all to scale. The best thing to do is just to cut it out roughly to start with. We'll then cut out each circle hand. So we'll do the bottom one first of all, the Bryans FiveWin. Now you'll notice I've been quite haphazard in the way that I've cut around that, and there's a reason for that. If you're not using thick card, what you can do is, because it's only the pressure of the plate holding this in position, you might just want to bend over these edges like that just to thicken it up a little bit, and I can do that on there. and there and there. So we've got quite a bit of surface area for it to grip, which you won't see through the cutout on the metal plate on the front. So all we need to do now is just to slip this behind the plate, carefully push into place, make sure it's centre, and when you're happy with its position, we can then screw that back into place. We can then do the same for the top. Now again, what I've done is, because I've got the screw at the top there, I've cut that quite close to the circle. Once again, to make sure it gets thicker and held in place, I'm just going to bend over parts of the paper around the corners. Remember, this has been coated in a lacquer. You don't need to. If it's in a home environment, it's not going to get any damage. It'll last 20 years before it fades. And we can then just slip this in. And again, just screw that in. And I think you'll agree, a very quick and simple 5-minute job of replacing the graphics there. We now come to the win and lose bar. As I said, we get to that from the inside. There inside is the wooden bar. We're going to remove that and put the awards on there. It's held in place by these two red clips. They should just twist upwards. Once these have both been lifted up, you can just prise this out. So this is what we've removed. Now if you have a look at the printout from our website, it's got the 3 main payouts. We're going to cut these out, and these are going to be stuck on to here. They are all to scale, so they should line up with the holes without any problem. Now once you've cut out the labels, you don't have to worry about getting the edges absolutely straight, because you don't see those. As long as it fits on your block like that. But how do we fix this? Any type of glue will suffice, but I tend to use the 3M craft mount. Spray the glue onto the back of the paper and then just push it onto the block. When you put the labels onto the wooden block, it's very easy to adjust this so that you get them shown through their respective holes in the front. If you need to move it up or down, you can just adjust these little metal tabs, one here and one here. You can just bend them up a little bit or down just to adjust the block up or down. Left and right, because the block has a few millimetre gap either side, you can slide it left or right. Once you've got it in exactly the right position, you can drop these down and just tighten them up to hold the block in place. So once all the glue has dried, you can see we've got the block with the replacement labels. We can now test it out by putting it back in. We'll put the high payouts first of all. And as we push that in, we just check the front, and that's perfectly aligned up, as you can see. We'll remove this and we'll put the low payouts perfectly aligned, and finally the win and lose labels. We'll push that on, and you can see that it's slightly too far to the left. That's no problem. We can just slide this over and there you can see it's perfectly aligned. Once you've got it in place, you can then just pull the levers down to lock it in place. And there's your completed FiveWin replacement graphics.